hear from young males. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I can't hear. Stand up, Denise, and shout.
Can you hear that? Oh, God, I'm on now. I frightened you then, didn't I? Just from my own personal point of view, I've been in the nail industry now for 10 years. Didn't use an e-file for 7 of it. And a few years ago had golfer's elbow and tennis elbow and bad back. And reluctantly, have to say, changed to an e-file and wish that I did it 10 years ago. It's the best thing that I've done. I use it very safely, but when you're talking about licensing, it's like Samuel quite rightly said, that's still no indication that people are going to use it correctly. I think the main important thing is like you said, Marion, is education, and people will eventually vote with their feet.
Can I just add to that as well? Licensure overall, or this type of policing, in a lot of instances, my belief anyway, is that it leads to almost a false sense of quality that is produced. Oh, I've got a license, so therefore, I rock on an e-file, or doing nails. I've got a license for doing nails, so therefore, what I do must be fine. And that's not necessarily the case. You can go to virtually any state in the U.S. where it is a law, you have to be licensed in order to do nail services. There's salons that will trash and shred nails and do poor jobs, or you see bacterial infection. Just because they've got a license doesn't necessarily mean that we've got quality. Those are two completely different things. So.
Do you not think, though, that customers would definitely like to open the door of a salon and see something on the wall to say that somebody's come in and give them some sort of official branding that they would feel secure about?
Sure, I think that there's merit to something like that. But first off, consumers need to be educated on what that is that they'd be looking for. And that in and of itself is a massive undertaking. But again, I point to my own homeland in America, where they have licenses. But at the same time, they're turning out clients that are having their natural nails completely trashed. It depends on the technician, it depends on the salon, it depends on the people that are actually doing the work. If they take pride in what they do, if they take pride in developing their skills and education level, not the piece of paper on the wall that says, I'm safe to do your nails, well, that just doesn't, I don't know.
And I think as well, there's lots of, and I can understand both sides of that. I can understand about the licensing, who's going to actually police it, and it doesn't say that, yes, that person's going to do a safe job with that file. Again, it's a bit like in our salon. I don't use an electric file on the natural nail. I don't need to use it over the nail to get rid of bulk. Again, it's how you use it and what for. What we use it for is to change the free edge cover because it does it quicker, and for cleaning underneath. I still believe, yes, it's down to education, and I think we all agree with that, which is why Javier brought out the new qualification for the nail drills. And I must admit, it's the first time I've been involved in something like that, and I was very impressed of how that was put together, because a lot of people, I think that if they've got to go and do a qualification in nail drilling, it's not going to make them commercial. But it has been built round what is done in the salon to make it commercial. And I do believe that the electric valve can do so much damage, and we should get people qualified in that education for the nail drill so they are aware of what they can do, but also the benefits it brings them as well, rather than pigeonholing and saying, you're going to do damage from now here. If we all understand how to use it correctly, properly, and that is also down to the companies, the magazines, education, technicians, all working together on this to make it more commercially aware, and I think then we would actually halve the problems that are out there.
Can I add something to this, which is the other side of the question, if you like? We've been talking about education of e-files and how important it is, and it's actually that training that is central to all of it. But just stepping out into the whole licensing arena, which is a whole different ballgame and a whole black hole that we can all disappear into. As you all know, in central London you have to have a licence to provide any service at all. But if some of you don't work in central London, you may not know that it actually costs £700 to get that licence. So as a salon owner, that's actually an awful lot of money. that you have to shell out in order to have technicians working for you doing any service at all, and that includes manicure.
Is that per person, Marion, or for the salon?
It's for the salon. So I know for a fact that the government, whoever the government are, you know, with inverted commas, who are these faceless people, I know that the government won't put any time or effort into policing an industry area because they expect the industries themselves to police themselves.
And who polices it? Who then turns around and says, well, you know, did they actually get that NVQ? Who goes and finds out whether they actually got it? Does anybody? Do people just register and not even do it, but carry on doing nails with no qualifications whatsoever? So can you clarify that for me at all?
I can, to a point, because I don't know the full answer, because unfortunately the London boroughs are all different, and all of the environmental health officers are all different. They all use their own handbook, I think, which is different for each one. But what I can say in answer to part of Gigi's question, which was, do they only need to be seen to be doing it? That is true to a certain extent. You can get a licence as long as you are officially registered with an awarding body that is part of a training centre. And that registration does actually run out after, I think it might be 4 years. I'm dredging up memories here, but I think it might be 4 years. So say, for example, if you register with City and Guilds to do your MVQ, you have 4 years in which to complete it, otherwise you are no longer registered. But I don't think there's anybody that actually polices that. And that's something that should be up to the individual salons that have applied for that licence, but who's to say? There's actually nobody truly policing anything, in my opinion. That's an opinion, but it's also a fact. The 700, Sam has just asked what's the £700 for. The £700 is what you pay to, for example, Westminster Council to go through the motions, to get the pieces of paper, to get an inspection, and then to get another inspection. Actually, David, who's on the block, he might know a bit more about that because he's been through it recently. Do you know any more about the procedure? No, he doesn't know.
I understand what Westminster Council were doing, and that it is a start, and I can see the logic behind it and what they're trying to do. But if this is going to work, and this is for the councils, and it's down for the councils to work together as well, because what seems to be not working is if you work in Westminster, it's one thing. If you work in Lambeth Council, it's another. If the councils are going to import these to us and make us do this registration and things like that, they've all got to be doing on the same hymn sheet. Otherwise, you can move from one area to another and you don't know where you stand. And that, I think, is one thing that has to come from industry and the councils working together. Again, with the health and safety people, 1 year, because we opened the salon and because the health and safety had a bit of a kick in the nail industry, I got inspected 3 times in 1 year. I've had a salon since I was 21 and I am now, and I have only been inspected that 1 time. So I'd like to hear other people's thoughts on that, and if we can all pull together and make the council sing off the same hymn sheet, we might actually get somewhere in continuity.
I do think that there has got to be I do think that there has to be consistency for I think there's got to be consistency for anything to even have any chance of success. I know that when I was in Essex, I inquired about a licence because I wanted to do it properly, and I was told I should say that I'm mobile because then I wouldn't need a licence.
They actually said that to you?
Yes, well, they were persuading me to say that, and for the cost to me as a one-man band for a licence was the same cost that a salon with 20 technicians would have to pay.